Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning into my channel. Today, we're going to be looking at a very familiar parable in the scriptures. We're going to be in the book of Matthew, looking at the parable of the vineyard and the laborers. Now, this is a very interesting parable because it has everything to do with those that serve the Lord, those that have given their life and time in obedience to the gospel. But it's also key that we form a good understanding of how God is going to reward us. His eye is gracious. And there's a lot to gather in this section. Now, we are in a 1611 King James Bible. This is a facsimile by Oxford University Press. And I believe they call this, it came in a real nice box, real nice presentation box. And they call this the quarterly edition, and it's Oxford. You know, this is under $100, but it's a fancy Bible for the most part, something you would leave on the desk. Now, I really like this one because you get the Old English, you get the F's and S's, V's and U's, all that's mixed up, but you're still getting the original Old English text. It's just now in Times New Roman. So, very beautiful cover page here, the Lamb that was slain. You have the 12 tribes of Israel and the 12 apostles. Let's go ahead and get into the Gospel of Matthew. I just wanted to show you all the title page here with the letterhead. And then we're going to quickly flip to where my bookmark is. We are in chapter 20. Let me zoom us in. Okay, so here's where we will be reading today. Let me read the translator's preface material here of the chapter. Christ, by the similitude of the laborers in the vineyard, showeth that God is debtor unto no man. I'm not going to continue because we're not going to finish the whole chapter, but just keep that in mind. So the King James translators, they took this parable and they summarized it in their theology that Christ, by the similitude of the laborers in the vineyard, showeth that God is debtor unto no man. Very interesting outlook. We're going to start in verse 1. For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers in his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, now I have to pause right here. You don't often get a side column reference in the King James Bible. King James did not look like what the Geneva translators did with all the theology in the text. But here, concerning a penny a day, a Roman penny is the 8th part of an ounce, which after 5 shillings the ounce is 7 pence, halfpenny. So we have a 1611 English idea of this unit of value. Now, whether or not that really adds to the text, you be the judge. But let's continue. So, and when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And he went out about the 3rd hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. Again he went out about the 6th and 9th hour, and did likewise. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle. Bear with me. Let me turn the page here and refocus. So then he went out and found others standing idle. Okay, I'm going to have to manually focus this. That works. And said unto them, Why stand ye here all day idle, all the day idle? They said unto him, Because no man hath hired us. He said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that shall ye receive. I think I can touch it up a hair more here. Let me see. How about right there? So when the evening was come, the Lord of the vineyard said unto his stewards, Call the laborers, and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. But when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more, and they likewise received every man a penny. And when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, These last," and we have a double parallel here, "or have continued 1 hour only." So a little bit of a commentary there, saying these last, that possibly were only there for an hour, have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden and heat of the day. But he answered one of them and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong. Didst not thou agree with me for a penny? Take that thine is, and go thy way. I will give unto this last, even as unto thee. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with mine own? Is thine eye evil, because I am good? So the last shall be first, and the first last. For many be called, but few chosen. Now I'm going to stop right there. We've covered the parable at this point. It's a very interesting parable, because as we later will come to learn, we are laboring or co-laborers in the vineyard of God. Some people, they find Christ at an earlier age, and they'll spend hours, carrying the cross, so to say, bearing the heat of the day, possibly many years of service, while others are called maybe in their 60s, maybe in their 70s, or they might have but a few years or possibly weeks or days or even hours left. But from that point of conversion, they serve the Lord faithfully in belief and in truth. And of course, if we truly believe, the evidence of that faith is seen in a way through our works, because it's evidence of salvation. Paul, he addresses this in Philippians chapter 3 about those that carry not the cross, but are enemies of the cross, whose God is their belly, whose end is destruction, and in tears he weeps concerning those. But in this case, we're talking about the reward, right? At the end of the day, or at the end of the age, when the earth is harvested, or when all these things happen in this generation, in this time, when the Lord calls us home, and it's very personal, we can rest assured that his eye is gracious, because he will give even the last as he did the first. Because when we look at this in an eternal kind of an outlook, right? God, this life is such a small thing. It's passing. It's like just another vapor in the wind, another flower quickly fading, right? Like the psalmist or the worship song. We're here, and it's just momentary. And if we come to the knowledge of the truth, that is the pearl of great price, another parable. That is the truth of the kingdom and the powers of the age to come. And then we therefore labor for the Lord as an act of worship, like Romans chapter 8, our spiritual service of worship. But when we stand before Christ in the resurrection and the life at that last day, this reward, his eye is gracious. He's going to give to all the same. So when he says, I go to prepare a place for thee, in my Father's house are many mansions. If were not so, I would not have told thee. We can rest assured knowing that the Lord will reward those that have served him faithfully in their lives. I just wanted to share this parable. It is kind of an interesting thing. Sometimes this has led me to think, why am I working so hard? Because I was called when I was 19, and I'm in my mid to later 30s now, and it's just kind of but I'm grateful, because many will live a whole life and they won't even know the truth. And then when they get saved, they said, man, I wish I had learned these things when I was young. The scripture does say, don't be overly righteous or overly wise. Why should you ruin yourself? Sometimes we can be harder on ourselves than the Lord would have been on us. But godly living and following Christ, that's the goal. And these are questions that, we all will learn as we go our way. But the reward is going to be the same. God is going to bless us all lavishly. I mean, our cup will overflow, as King David says. So we can rest assured, our reward will be great, and it'll be to be with the Lord forever in a state of life, and as Christ has stated, paradise. I hope this message has blessed somebody out there today. Our focus should be on the lost sheep, on winning souls, and just doing those things that we can to further the work of the kingdom. Seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all things will be added to you. So where the word of the king is being preached, the seed of the kingdom is going forth. Until next time, y'all stay blessed, and thank y'all so much for listening this evening.